دولار يا جماعة ليه تدفعوا دولار في البنك؟ لا لا لا، حتى كده المحلي المانجا واللبن كله بقى غالي، غالي عشان دولار دي نياي. كلام دولار يا دولار ارجع بلدك، كلام دولار كلام دولار بقى مشكلة جنوبين، ما عنده قروش باكل وين، ما عنده شغل باكل وين، لو جات كله بقى دولار انا زعلان كلام دولار، لو جات كله بقى دولار انا زعلان كلام دولار. أبان جو يا تجار كل شيء made in Juba play تقول بدولار، دولار بما قروشنا. I'm proud of South Sudan pounds, pounds وانا زعلان كلام دولار. Mind the guruj bakul wen, mind the shukul bakul wen. Share the show, guys. Share the show. Biga dollar, anazalan kalam dollar. Loja kulu biga dollar, anazalan kalam dollar. دولار يا جماعة معيشة صعبة، حتى السمك اللي تجيبها هنا برضو غالي عشان دولار. لا لا لا، تلقى واحد تاجر موية، تلقى واحد تاجر فام، تلقى واحد تاجر رملة، تلقى واحد تاجر سمك. جنوب السودان فوق السمك، ليه تقول عشان دولار، دولار ده ما قروشنا. I'm proud of South Sudan pounds, pounds وانا زعلان كلام دولار. كلام دولار يا دولار ارجع بلدك، كلام دولار كلام دولار بقى مشكلة جنوبين، ما عنده قروش بمشي وين، ما عنده شغل بمشي وين، لو جات كله بقى دولار انا زعلان كلام دولار، لو جات كله بقى دولار انا زعلان كلام دولار. بنشكر حكومة جنوب بالخدمات الطيبة، نقطة جواب تمشي وزارة بدو قروش العيال والمدرسة، بعد شوية تمشي بلاك ماركت. ليه خرجتوا قروشنا وانا زعلان كلام دولار دولار. كلام دولار يا دولار. Welcome, welcome guys. Share the show. For those of you in Clubhouse, keep people in. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube and Facebook, start sharing. Edmund Yakani will be with us shortly. Loja kulu biga dollar, anazalan kalam dollar. Abani jo ya tujar, policy made in Juba, play the good and dollar, dollar de makuruzna. I'm proud of South Sudan pounds, wanazalan kalam dollar, dollar.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to Lake State Media. My name is Abraham Medit. I'm waiting for Irmu to come in. He's having a little bit of network issues in Juba, but he will join us soon. Our topic of today is regarding about economy, in South Sudan, and also preparation of the election of December this year. Those are the two topic. Those are the two topic that we are going to talk about it. So and also too. If Edmund is not been able to join with me soon because of the network issues in Juba, we will be do it maybe tomorrow too. But meanwhile, let us let me see here. So meanwhile, as we hear in the news that in South Sudan, as we speak, dollars rate is increasing. People are crying because everything is at the market is really it's very expensive because of dollars rate in black market or in the bank. So, and this is one of the things that we need to discuss these issues. So while we wait for Idmo to come in, this topic is very important for you guys to to uh yeah,
I
Jama,
think
I'm in the show. Okay. Okay.
I think network is a problem, but let's try.
Yeah, so let us start. Let us start.
Hmm.
Hang on. Yes, let us start. I will because of your network issues. Um, Go ahead and let us begin with our topic of today. For those of you, thank you for joining us. Let us begin. Edmund, thank you for coming in. For those of you, let me say this very quick. We having every week we having a show program called South Sudan Current Affair. Me and Edmund will be. It's a program that we will be doing weekly. Every week we talk about the current issues facing our nation. So that's what we'll be talking every week. And we will be invited some of the guests within Juba, and then we'll talk from now to the election. Because this is the road to election. So this is what I want to let you guys know that our program is called South Sudan Current Affair. So we will be doing a show weekly. So that's what I want to let you guys know. Inmon, let me start with you. Last week, I mean, not last week, few days ago, you met with some of the international community ambassador and deputy ambassador. You met with the deputy ambassador of British and also ambassador of Norway. Can you give us a brief? What is your meeting about with them?
Thank you. Am I clear? Yeah, thank you very much. I'm a bit sorry in terms of lightening. Lightening may not make me very much more clear, but you could have that I'm a usual guest of the studio. My meetings are mainly around the country preparation for the looming election of December 2024 is much more of really raising a voice and raising concerns around the elections preparation. And of course, as you are aware that the whole country is now much more focused on preparation of the elections. And as we speak with you today, there are quite a number of visits from UN to the country. We have the UN Under Secretary for Peace and Operation is in country. We have the panel of experts on South Sudan in country. We have the team of South Sudan Human Rights Commission, the UN Human Rights Commission for South Sudan is on the ground. We have the review of the sanction and the arms embargo. Teams are also in country. So we have to interact with the international community about where are we on the road towards elections. That's the main discussion. And our discussion mainly look into the issue of preconditions. And of course, there are more outstanding preconditions. Our discussion is the question of adequate and timely funding from the government for the election process, the creation of unified armed forces in terms of the unification of the forces, open political and civic space, and commitment towards inclusive, democratic, and peaceful elections. Those are the discussions we have with members of the international community in country, the deputy ambassador of British Embassy, the ambassador of Norway. We met, and likely tomorrow I'll be meeting the undersecretary to discuss much more where are we. So the whole debate is around like building consensus around a conducive environment for the conduct of the elections, in which we look into the issues of the preconditions for the conduct of the elections. So that is what the discussion were. There were commitment, there were indications that the international community is ready for elections, but they want to see for the conduct of the elections as required by the provision of the bilateral peace agreement. So that is the focus of my meeting with the international community. But that is also to inform preparation for the country, as I would like to share with you and with the audience that today at least we have first of its kind meeting through our lobby. We brought together the National Election Commission, the National Constitutional Review Commission, the National Bureau of Statistics, and the Political Parties Council as institutions that have responsibility in creating conducive environment for elections. Today, that's a picture where Honorable Dr. Martin, on behalf of the government, and then we have Darren from the tripartite representing UN, AU, and IGAT. This is a representative of the National Statistics Bureau giving his options in terms of statistics that requires a population census. By consensus today, there's an idea that there's areas that we can compromise in order to conduct the elections, but the area we cannot compromise. Areas that we cannot compromise completely is the question of unified forces. We can't go for the elections with two armies. Question of open political civic space for all political actors to have an equal playground in the country, and commitment towards democratic and peaceful elections where the elections will not be a trigger of country return back to violence, and the government taking a primary responsibility in financing the election, the constitutional making process. And also the distinction between population census and elections, constitutional making process and elections. So that is a discussion today. One thing that came out as an outstanding issue today is that time is running out. Time that is left for planning elections is getting so squeezed. So there were concerns that were raised. And of course, this is in line with our advocacy about us South Sudanese taking a lead in ending the transitional period without any extension in a very peaceful and democratic manner, that we have a power transfer from one group to another, from one individual to another, in a peaceful manner, that we can have it. But obviously, also the question of the whole outgroups, peace talks came out very clear in the discussion of these institutions, because some of them is still post-insecurity in country. So some of the discussion that came in, and the question of defections that has happened in the country, violation of permanent ceasefire, which have registered quite a number of incidences. And the worst incident is what 2 days or 3 days ago, the SPLA-IO saying their spokesperson's lives is under attempt of an assassination. So these are things that shapes the discussions, and how do we build consensus towards creating a conducive environment for the conduct of the elections. So the current affairs is that the debate around the elections is looming, is getting more attractive. As I said, we have constructive dialogue among the institutions tasked with the responsibility of creating conducive environment for the elections. And the idea is that this discussion will continue to the level of the leaders of the country in terms of the members of the presidency. And this may call for political parties roundtable. And of course, one of the things today asking how much inclusive that political roundtable will be. And can we entertain even politicians who are in the diaspora or outside the country? Can they join with an online discussion? So for me, the spirit of dialogue is growing, though sometimes there are challenges, but we have no option. The only option is that we need to talk to each other. We need to build consensus. There's nobody who can come from anywhere to fix our country. We have to fix it ourselves through dialogue, not through military struggle or through antagonistic position or through. And that's why people like us today have been pushing the incumbent that respect freedom of assembly, association, expression, allow opposition also to conduct their rallies in the same manner as the ruling parties are doing. And mainly, of course, SPLMI, you have that space of opening offices, and through that event, they can do rallies. SPLM, the government is having a huge enough space of rallies, but we should give other oppositions in the same equal space so that they interact with citizens and citizens can check on them. But also that discussion around the registration of the political parties, the fees are very high, almost $75,000 US. more closer to Ghana. Ghana is 50,000, we're now 75,000. And the question is, will other political parties that may not have represented the government manage to pay that fees? All these are discussions that came up. But one thing that I feel as a spirit of beauty is the spirit of dialogue, is a spirit of argument, the spirit of listening, the spirit of talking without any fear or favor, which for me, it's a good beginning. So that is how the current affairs is. But obviously, I can't really underestimate, or I can't escape speaking without referring to the economical situation. The dollar is now 140,000 SSP, almost getting to 150,000 SSP, which is causing havoc. The economical pressure is too much now. And of course, besides the domestic factors that might have contributed for the rise of the dollar, also the crisis in Sudan have contributed for the rise of the dollar, because almost our oil access to international markets has been blocked in Port Sudan. The oil is getting out there. So there are hardships of life now as we speak. Some families, their children are dropping out of school because they're unable to afford to pay the school fees. Some families doesn't have a meal per day. The children end up in the streets looking for free food that they can get from restaurants or anywhere. And we're a bit afraid that likely issues of unknown gunmen may emerge when the army are not paid, and the army may turn against the civilian population. And also, there's a likelihood that incidents of crime may increase, ambushes in roads, and humanitarian workers may be targeted by the armed groups because they may believe humanitarian actors have access to income. So people working in NGOs in the private sector may become a target of criminals because at least they have little access to income. And of course, prices is getting high and high. And the streets of Juba, you can hear the outcry from the citizens that they are tired. They are losing patience. They need to see improvement of the economic situation. So that is the current affairs that we're in now. And of course, as I mentioned before, the incidences are in rise in the country. We're losing quite a number of lives of innocent citizens. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Edmund Yakani. Before we go to, before we talk more about the economic crisis, like what this young man just posted, just put my tear in my eye about fighting for our life. We are breaking down. That is what majority of citizens, including my own family, are going through as we speak. It's a heartbreaking. And while we talk more about the economic crisis, let's focus a little bit more about the election. As you mentioned, Edmund, that the election is looming, and also to security arrangement is not in place. Unified forces is not in place, and census is not in place. ITP or refugees are not returning back home yet, and other rebels in the bush are still in the bush. Opposition are still, whether back home or in diaspora, they're still not supporting of election. And the time is so close. It's so close. We are going next. We have a week and a half to go in March, so which is remain less than 10 months or less than 9 months. Do you think election will take place? What I seeing, like in national community, they are supporting this election. Okay, but do you think, and some of the outstanding issues are not met yet, government with opposition? Do you think the election will take place without all of this not in place?
You know, today in our deliberations, we have one of a renowned British citizens expert in African elections. He's called Nick Cheeseman. Nick Cheeseman, we wrote the paper together about how not to hold elections. Me, Nick Cheeseman, and Luca Bion. We put that paper out, which triggered the debate around the elections. So Nick Cheeseman today is with us. Nick Cheeseman was able.
Sorry, guys, it's froze again. Let's wait for him to come in. His network over there is really, yeah, because even you see the income is really trouble, so be the network too. So let us wait for him to come back. And for those of you in Clubhouse, try later on if you want a question. So like the network now is not participate with us. So let us not. And for those of you watching Facebook, if you have questions, just write it. But probably after we see if the network is allowed him or not. So while we waiting for him to come back, let me still playing the song. So and for those of you, yeah, this is the challenging time. Like the economy right now, people are crying like the dollar rate is going on, and this is the reason why the government of South Sudan make a big mistake in the first place, was allowed dollars, US dollar, to control the economy. Okay, when I see other East Africa like Uganda, Kenya, for instance, they are not. They are use their own current money. Okay, they are not dwelling. When you go there with the US dollar, you have to change it at the market. At the market. At the church, I mean, at their bank. You cannot go to the market to exchange at the black market. That did not see there in Uganda, in Kampala town. I never see people are selling money on the street, only in South Sudan. And this is the reason why the crisis of dollars is going is a issue. Why is it government of South Sudan allowed US dollar to control their economy instead of South Sudanese pound? So that's the question that if you want to solve the economy of the country, yeah.
Yep, yeah. So sorry for the interruption from the network. So Nick Kisman was able to share his expertise in the continent about elections. He was able to give a case study of where elections are conducted in post-conflict country without population census. Elections are conducted in a post-conflict country where there's issues of constitution, how to go about with it, or across in certain parts of the world. He was able to share the expertise because he is a renowned British expert in elections. He is a PhD holder, and he moved in a lot of African elections across the continent. The latest is the Kenyan elections. So he helped a lot of electoral commissions in the continent, and he was brought in to share. He raised some few issues of knowledge for political leadership decision. He said, first, scientifically, you can't conduct election in less than 2 years. And with the infrastructure our country is in, it may take us time. And then per the agreement, the constitution that is required by Chapter 6 is supposed to be people-driven constitution, not a constitution of the elites. And that, at least per the National Constitutional Review Commission, which I'm a member, our action plan is projecting 2 years period to make a permanent constitution. The fastest is 1.5 years. So if you look at the element of population census and constitution making process, may send a signal that there's a need to extend. And people are tired of extension, and people are in need of elections. So Nick Kisman give bit of a technical assistance to the institutions. That one, if political leaders can decide that they can use the 2008 population census in order to have even distribution of the newly created constituency of 1 to 58 constituencies, that is an option. If you want to do delimitations of a new constituencies, or the newly created 56 constituencies should be ignored, then we go for elections with 102 constituencies. And that means the implication that you reduce also the parliament size to 170 as per the 120 constituencies. That's what Nick Kisman was proposing. Or you use a voter registration system, and first thing you start by sequencing the elections. So you go for first executive elections, elect the president and the state governors, which does not require any geographical constituencies. Voters register, then you delay the legislative elections. Then through the voter registration, you have numbers of people who are willing to vote, and you can use that to delimitate. But all these require political decisions. Or if you're to say, look here, we need to go for election with census, and since the geographical constituencies require census, as you go for the executive elections of president and governors, the distance between the executive elections and the legislative elections, then you run a population census here. You can look at it. While the Statistics Bureau was saying if they're allowed to be using 2008 elections, then they can do projection of the last 15 years. What does it mean? Of course, the projection here, I would like to share with the audience, does not refer to the what we call the sampling, the population sampling, which was done recently and caused havoc. So Census Bureau will go their own to do some more projections, especially under the new leadership of our brother, Dr. Agustino Ting. So there's the issues of technicalities in the designing of the elections. But one thing that has become common is that the timeline right now is tight. This tight timeline can succeed if adequate financial resources and political commitment is availed to the institutions to run. But likely the institutions will somehow eat time beyond the given time per the roadmap for the conduct of the elections. So that's a discussion. So in summary, there are challenges for creating a conducive environment for the conduct of the elections, and these may require political decisions. And the political decisions will not be centered on the concept of an extension, because appetite for extension back home among the citizens is completely zero. Citizens want to go and vote. They say we're tired of these several extensions. And the word extension, before most of the citizens in the country, if you pronounce the word extension, it seems you are demanding to sustain the status quo, and you're trying to please that the current political leaders will keep on enjoying, and they can't be held accountable because citizens feel they have lost social contract between them and the citizens through the peace agreement arrangement. So they want to go to polling stations. What they're going to do. So for me, the question whether elections will be conducted is so much determined by two particular events: political party, inclusive political parties' leaders' decision, and that's why there's a call from other parties that are listening to the revitalized peace agreement, like Dr. Lama call and others who are not really fully in the government, calling for an inclusive political parties dialogue among the parties that are signatories to the revitalized peace agreement. But some went further as calling that also allow any political player to speak out, even if the non-signatory to the revitalized peace agreement are interested to express their opinion in such a dialogue. Give them the chance, let them express their opinion, because we need to go for an inclusive. That is one trend. And that trend is that the government will find itself caught up with the issue of legitimacy by December 2024. The next option is that also they'll be forced to organize an inclusive political dialogue on how to end the transition by February 2025. Or a technocratic government has to be established. But of course, for the incumbent, the word technocratic government is a bit disturbing. So everything is so much determined by an urgency in political decision-making by the leaders of the country. And I know some people, when we pronounce the political parties, they feel like we are subjecting the whole country to the political decision of the incumbent or the status quo leaders who are in power. As long the roadmap time have not yet come to expiration, the provisional agreement allow the parties through Article 8.4 to decide. But of course, if that decision is an extension, then that is an abnormal decision. That decision will find a huge rejection back home at the region, at the international level. So our leaders are now under pressure that they need to urgently caucus and make a decision and reach consensus. But obviously, extension is not the option on the table now. They have to think for another best option. And the best option is inclusive dialogue, consensus building, but not an extension. Then the other thing comes that also here, technically, if you're to play from other angle, maybe Electoral Commission will come with an election calendar that may extend the period beyond the required period. that becomes like a technical call for what is accurate, what is realistic, what is legitimate. So somehow there's a little window of opportunity with the Electoral Commission in terms of developing an electoral calendar and timeline that they feel is the right and the actual one for the conduct of peaceful and democratic elections. So that is how critical the situation is, and how confusing it is, and how the preparation for the elections is getting harder and harder, and political legitimacy is receiving huge pressure from the running out of the time for the conduct of the election, because the only legitimacy now through elections. And as I said several times, President have promised the nation no more extension. That is the challenge. How can His Excellency President walk the talk? And I think, and besides this, remember, we can't really neglect resources are drying up because the oil is not going to international market as usual. The non-oil source is the only generating source of funding, and the pressure on funding generated through the non-oil sector for other services, for other priorities, is more beyond the capacity or beyond the size of the income we're generating from the non-oil revenue. So also financing is going to be another challenge. And the International Committee have made it very clear they cannot finance anything until the government shows serious responsibility and commitment towards the conduct of the elections and actions that counts beyond doubt, and then that may motivate them to come. But that doesn't mean that they can't stand with the citizens of South Sudan in terms of
Yes, network again is froze. Okay, let us wait for him. So he's having a network issue. Yeah, Moses, I think he having a network issue. That's why you cannot hear him well, but his sound is clear in my end. Problem is, yeah, let's wait for him to come back. And for those, Alan, bear with me. I will give you a chance if he come back so you can ask your question. I think we will make this show a little bit less because he having a network issues, and we can come back tomorrow and do it another show so that we can finish up this topic. Actually, this topic will be a economy, and this will be a continuing discussion. Let me wait for him to come back.
دولار يا جماعة ليه يدفعوا دولار في البنك؟ لا لا لا، حتى الجدل المحلي المانجا واللبن كله بقى غالي غالي عشان دولار.
And another thing too, another topic that I want to discuss is about is another news that we're seeing. Yesterday on Thursday, we see that the group, some of the generals from NAS defected and joined the government. So we have seen the report from iRadio, also the report from Michael Christopher. So we will play that video when we finish with our topic.
yes, sorry, my brother.
Yeah, it's good. I know that was sometimes. So let us go to the deep in the economy. What is the reason why the dollar rate is so increasing for the last few days in Juba? We see that the dollar rate, as you mentioned, the dollar rate right now is 140,000. And some people, they say that some part of the South Sudan dollar rate is 165, and it seems like it's even going up. It's going up every day. What is the reason why driving the rate of dollars up?
Obviously, the common readings is around the country is so much depending on the oil. With the crisis in Sudan, the access of South Sudan to hard currency is limited. That is one reason. The second reason is that, of course, we are so much a consuming economy country. We don't produce. With the pressure across the globe also, that is affecting us in terms of real our economic status, because, you know, Middle East is getting up. But I feel also our domestic policies for strengthening SSP is a bit weaker. In the sense, central bank is auctioning hard currency in the previous as a practice, which could have been, I'm not an economist, but there's a one question normally we used to ask. Is the auctioning a healthy practice in the economic society or in the economic work? Because we feel, why not to really take the hard currency directly, give to the people who wants it, the business community, so that they bring goods in subside prices, and then you find that the prices is down. So there's a huge economic factors that have implications on why the dollar rate have to increase there. But of course, all these factors is under the umbrella of absence of political stability in the country, because the level of insecurity in the country is very high, and that has made production, even local production for subsidiary consumption, is very low. Most of the population are displaced, they're waiting for humanitarian assistance. So production to sustain citizens' livelihood from domestic produce is completely affected with the ongoing pockets of violence across the country. But I feel also because our central bank auctioning idea have turned dollar into a commodity. Dollar become a commodity that you need to have it because you sell it. Today, dollar is a commodity in the sense that if you have dollar, you can sell it 140 SSP. It becomes very expensive. So it's no longer a question of a monetary fund or a liquidity that you know to transact with the business in the market. It's dollar by itself. It's become a commodity. It's become a business product. So people of forex bureaus that get access for hard currency, they keep the hard currency in order to play with it as a business, as a commodity that they are in. And as I said, with the absence of political instability, with the limited access to hard currency through the oil, and that have increased level of taxes on non-oil revenue sources, and the increase of taxes on the non-oil revenue sources, at the end of the day, it shapes the prices in the market. And if you're going to buy goods from Uganda, you can't buy them with SSP. You need a hard currency. So because the prices is very high, access to hard currency becomes something very important. And as I said, hard currency is becoming a commodity, that we have turned dollars to become a commodity, which is a wrong policy making. That become a big issue. Besides the lack of commitment towards multi-practices that are going on in terms of bribes and other forms of corruption, this might also contribute. People keeping money at home, not taking them to banks. And one of the disturbing things is that also our government sometimes keep on printing local currency without knowing the inflation that is going to happen and the implication that it will have on the economy. So there's a prediction. Today we've been discussing with some few people. There's a prediction that if the situation continues like this, by May, the dollar may be almost hitting 200,000 SSP. And that means it's a huge, huge economical crisis. It's a huge economical disaster. And this means, as I mentioned at the beginning, increase
Yeah, so Edmund is frozen again, so for the network. Yeah, this is a very troubling time, guys, a challenging time. This dollar rate is really, I don't know what government will do to reduce the rate. I don't know, it will be causing a lot of chaos in the country, because if the dollar rate is continue going up and the prices are going up, people will be suffering. It's real sad. So let us wait for Edmund to come back, and then and I will move to another topic. As I said before, that let me wait for Edmund so I can go to the next.
يا دولار ارجع بلدك كلام دولار كلام دولار بقى مشكلة جنوبين ما عنده قروش باكل وين ما عنده شغل باكل وين لو جات كله بقى دولار انا زعلان كلام دولار لو جات كله بقى دولار انا زعلان كلام دولار Abanjo ya tujar كل شيء made in Juba play تقول بدولار دولار بمقروشنا I'm proud of South Sudan pounds وانا زعلان كلام دولار Mind guruj bakul wen, mind shokul bakul wen, lojat kulu biga dollar, anazalan kalan dollar. Lojat kulu biga dollar, anazalan kalan dollar. دولار يا جماعة معيشة صعبة حتى السمك اللي تجيبها هنا برضو غالي.
Okay.
So
Can you hear me? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think there's a challenge with the internet, but to the audience, I'd like to say sorry. I think I need to improve capability of technology for using for this interview for future. But today, let's continue and let's see how far we can go, and then we may be closing, and tomorrow we can improve. But I have to improve the technology capability just to make sure, because I realize I think MTN having a problem in the network some of these days, so maybe I can use other networks. But anyway, with the dollars, those are the factors that I've mentioned that is really challenging and is pressing, and families are crying, civil servants are crying, soldiers are crying, everybody's crying. That's the situation we're in now.
Yeah. It's really sad. It's challenging, and we will, as your network is really issue, so we can continue with this show tomorrow. And also, we need to invite those of people in the government. So we need to hear from their side of the story, because this thing is a challenge. If they don't do something, even the election they are talking about, the election will even not take place, because people will not even put their head about election. So you mentioned about the opposition that who are defected. I see, like yesterday, there's a group of yeah. So let us Edmund, let me say this, guys. So his network is really challenging. We will postpone this and then tomorrow. But meanwhile, before I postpone this show, yesterday, this is the breaking news. Yesterday, we see some of the group of NAS join the unity government. About 60 plus forces arrived in Juba yesterday. So I have a report from Michael Christopher. So he report about these issues. There's a video of that. It's about 23 minutes long. I will play that before and then see what's going on.
نعم الوطن في رحلة البحث عن التغطيات الإيجابية مركب التمرد وسنكون المجموعات المتمردة. نعم الوطن في رحلة البحث عن التغطيات الإيجابية مركب التمرد توماس شيريلو يلقلق وبدأ الغفز للنجاة. خبر اليوم مجموعة كبيرة من المجموعات اللي انشقت من الجنرال توماس شيريلو الآن هم في وصلوا جوبا للتو، وسيعقدوا مؤتمر صحفي كبير من داخل مطار جوبا هي مجموعة كبيرة، مجموعة كبيرة انشقت من الجنرال توماس شيريلو. الآن وصلوا جوبا، وسنكون في تغطية لهذا الحدث الكبير، هذا الحدث التاريخي، لوصول مجموعة كبيرة أرقام وأوزان انشقوا. هي رحلة العودة للوطن. كنا نتحدث دوما عن أهمية السلام، أهمية السلام، أهمية الاستقرار، وكنا نتحدث عن إنه في ضرورة موضوعية نقول جنب السلاح لكل المجموعات المتمردة، لأنه شعب جنوب السودان طواق للاستقرار وطواق للسلام وطواق للمحبة. فمرحبا بأي مجموعة هي عملت جنبا سلاح واستجابت لنداء فخامة رئيس الجمهورية، نداء السلام، نداء الاستقرار. يعني في الأسابيع الفاتت استمعنا لخطاب تاريخي من مدير عام جهاز الأمني والمخابرات الوطني، كان يناشد الأطراف. هي مجموعة كبيرة جدا، وكان بدأ معهم الحوار. هؤلاء الأبزاز بقيادة الناطق الرسمي لجهاز الأمني والمخابرات والجنرال النارجي وقيادات رفيعة من الدولة، هم كانوا في تنسيق تام مع هذه المجموعة من الأشاوس الذين لبوا نداء السلام ونداء فخامة رئيس الجمهورية، وواصلوا معهم عملية الحوار واستكملوا معهم النقاش إلى أن وصل الوفد الأول ومن ثم الوفد الثاني. مرحبا بهم في الوطن جنوب السودان. نرجع لورا شوية أحسن. ده هو المطلوب في المرحلة الجاية، ده هو المطلوب في بلدنا جنوب السودان، إنه يكون عندنا ناس همهم الأساسي الاستقرار، همهم الأساسي دعم مسيرة السلام. في الأسابيع الفات لاحظنا الجهد الكبير التم، والمجموعات المجموعة الأولى وصلت والمجموعة الثانية وصلت، هي دي المجموعة الثالثة وصلت الآن إلى جوبا. شكرا لسعادة الجنرال، شكرا الناطق الرسمي لجهاز الأمن والمخابرات الوطني، شكرا لمؤسسة الأمن الداخلي اللي هم حريصين على إنه كل أبناء الوطن يكونوا في نفس المركب. شكرا جزيلا لبلدنا. الآن حنقول وداعا للحرب، وداعا للصراعات الغير مبررة، نعم للسلام. هم أبناء الوطن، هم أبناء جنوب السودان، غادروا مركب الجنرال توماس شيريلو، والآن هم هنا في جوبا قيادات عسكرية رفيعة من الصف الأول، قيادات عسكرية وسياسية. الآن حنحاول نعلم
أنا ميجر جنرال روبرت لادو ماركو، مدير العام للأمن لقوات الجبهة خلاص الوطني تحت القيادة بتاع جنرال توماس شيريلو سوكا. أنا في اليوم موجود في مدينة جوبا، مشرور جدا. في الأول أنا بحيي رئيس الجمهورية جنوب السودان جنرال سالفا كير ميارديت، وقائد العام قائد الأعلى لقوات دفاع جنوب السودان. اليوم وصلنا في بلدنا حسب الدعوة رئيسنا سالفا كير ميارديت للسلام، إنه كل من رفع سلاح ضد الحكومة حيكون سبب الدمار للبلد. فاليوم قررنا اندماج بتاعنا قوات جبهة خلاص الوطني لجيش جنوب السودان. فاليوم أنا هنا موجودين في الجوبة، فأنا هنا بقدم تحية خاص لرئيس الهيئة الأركان لقوات الدفاع جنوب السودان، وبالخاص لمدير العام لمخابرات الوطني الداخل جنرال أكولكور وكل قيادات الجهاز الأمني والمخابرات الوطني. فاليوم نحن مسرورين عشان الدعم والسلام. نحن قوات المعارضة، نحن قيادات المعارضة في يوم نحن درنا نأكد لشعب بتاعنا في الجنوب، درنا نأكد لقيادات السياسية والقيادات العسكرية إنه اليوم جينا دعمنا السلام ونحن مع السلام، لأنه نحن بيعرف بلدنا عاني بكثير بالدمار، ما في أي تنمية، لا شفنا أي تقدم. ففي اليوم نحن جينا عشان نقدم مساهمة كبير للسلام، مساهمة كبير للتنمية، مساهمة كبير لتواجد السلام، لأنه صعب بتاعنا موجودين في مخيمات اللاجئين والناجحين. أنا شفت متاعب كثير خاصة في دول الجوار زي اليوغندا، كونغو وكينيا وإثيوبيا. مواطنين اللاجئين بتاعنا بيعاني بكل صعوبات لعدم توفير كل خدمات المختلف. فاليوم نحن بالقيادة بتاعتي عندنا مجموعة كبير اللي وصل في يوم بتاع الليلة في دولتنا الحبيب جمهورية جنوب السودان لندعم السلام. وكل قيادات الموجودين في الغابات الآن أنا داري أقل لشعب بتاعنا مدعمين السلام. كل قوات بتاعنا عشان موجود في كل مناطق اللي نحن سيطرنا فوقه، نحن كقياديين بتوم دارينا أقل لشعب جنوب السودان، دارينا أقل لحكومة جنوب السودان بأنه نحن سمينا للسلام ونحن للسلام. ففي اليوم أنا مسرور جدا عشان ما نوصل في مدينتنا مدينة جوبا عاصمة جمهورية جنوب السودان. شكرا.
تحياتي لرئيس الجنوب ولو هيس اكسلنس سلفا كير مايا جنرال سلفا كير مايرادي. برضو تحياتي لجنرال أكولكور. أنا قدامكم ميجا جنرال إسبان لوتيو بنجامين. أنا قائد بتلانيا إريا خمان. في نفس الوقت نحن متعصبين شديد. نحن جماعة جنوبيين خلال 8 سنة 9 سنة ده حصل فيه خسائر كتير، وخسائر ده لسا بتاعنا ومهنا أبوانا إخواننا وأخواننا ونساء وعيال. عشان كده سمنا في الكلام ده ما بكون صح. هارب ودمار في البلد، وفرصة ده لفرصة علينا نحن. ربنا بنفسه وكل البلد ده علينا نحن أبوانا وأخوان، كل وكل البلد ده نحن. ما دام بقى نحن يا سبب يا فكرنا إنه لازم نحن دايرين سلام هيكون موجود في الجنوب. ثانيا الرئيس بتاعنا بقول لازم ريبول سالفقابة إما زول عنده مشكلة مع جنوب إما حكومة جنوب لازم يدوم بسلام. عشان كده جينا موجودين نحن حاليا موجودين في قدام حكومة جنوب عشان كيف يتم ترتيبات بتاع سلام. أنا بالذات في محل أنا مسؤول فوقه إدارة اختصاص بتاع لانيا. أنا متأخر لغاية هسه قوة الهسه موجود هناك في إدارة اختصاص بتاع لانيا ما في إلى ديلك ممكن جايين من محلات ثانيين. فأسارية ده أنا بشوف إنه إذا كان لسه في أرض قابل لنسون سلبسون والحجاب الأخرى ديلك ممكن جايين من بعيد. فحكومة بيعرفوا حال بدهم بيكون شنو. لكن أنا متأكد جزء مننا لسه ورا هناك قدرنا عملنا موبلايزيشن. أنا متأكد في فترة بسيط خلال اليومين اللي جاي جزء ببالغ لحكومة جنوب. ده معلومة عشان الحكومة بتاعنا يكون في صورة إنه نحن كلنا دايرين سلام. برضو كمان أنا بقول للجنوبيين بدأ من الرئيس بتاعنا لجميع عسكريون حكوميين كله يعبونا سنوم يعبونا حاجة هرب الحصل سيلو 9 سنة 8 سنة خسائر كتير. بايبل في زول في بايبل عنده 2 عيال في 2 عيال كان في مناقصة ثاني بقول أبوه اللي يقسم له نسبة بدو في الآخر أبوه تم تصديق أدوه نسبة حقه وكد مسا ما جاء استعمل المالي بطريقة الحقيقة. في الآخر وكد مالي انتهت mas istakalu khadam indu melik tani wakid jurub biga saba sedid ya fakir inu be inu ya hatta idza kana amalta galat ma abi ana mumkin narja asan abi ba apini wa ana akhid خلال 8 سنه 9 سنه اذا كان عملنا غلط قدر شنو ابونا رئيس his excellency Salva Kiir ما يريد يعطينا وصعب بتاع جنوب برضه يعطينا ونحن دايرين نستفيد بمعلومات كثير عشان كيف نظام بكون نظام جديد حكومه جديد عشان سلام بكون في سلام سلام للابد في جنوب جنوبين بكون حرين وجنوبين اللي بحقوق بتوعهم ده هو سبب جينا ونحن موجودين قدام حكومه جنوب انا اكيد انا ما عندي اكثر من ده وبقينا موجودين معاكم الكثير نحن بنشارك معاكم وشكرا
اوكي نيابة مدير الأمن الجهاز الأمن الوطني نيابة مؤسسة بتاع الجهاز أنا إذن راهب أخوانا بتاعي الجاه من General Thomas Cirillo, and I also take this opportunity to welcome the media houses to take this coverage. This is live. This is not a propaganda that the rebel commanders of General Thomas are in Juba. As a result of the amnesty called by the president, the commanders of General Thomas, the chief of military intelligence, the area command of Lanya, decided that they are not surrendering, but they are responding to the president's call for amnesty. This is very, very important. We want to assure them safety. We want to assure them that their forces will be integrated into all the organized forces. The president says he doesn't need war. He needs peace. There is no meaning of war. Without peace, the country will not move forward. And today I want to assure to the commanders of General Thomas who are still in the bushes, but I'm quite sure that the military wing of General Thomas are no longer in the bushes. They have already responded to the president's call for amnesty. We have no more commanders with Thomas Dani Figabat. No. Delina al-Shekilu Hajat Bitom Bugulu Military Command Council, these are propaganda, but they're in Sultan of Nairobi. But the commander says there is no way to go to Nairobi. Action will respond to the call of the president for amnesty. And today we received them with there's more than 600 forces with Al-Nas. Hassan Wujud, they are going to assemble in Koda and Lanya. So I don't know which bushes are you going to hide. Otherwise, the commanders are already out. And as I'm talking to you, General Zakaria Abdallah is coming. He's on his way. He just went for treatment, but he's going to report to Juba. So I want to take this opportunity to thank the president for the amnesty that he has given to our sons and daughters of Equatoria, particularly in Central Equatoria State. My brothers will welcome you. Feel free. South Sudanese are going to sleep tonight. And I know also رسالة دي بالعربي رئيس لسه بقول قال أنا ما داير شاكل. أنا داير شنو؟ أنا داير سلام. So ما في داية ناقد في قبات. عشان نقدر نقتله في أكوانا بتاعنا. نقدر نعمل أمبوسيس في شوارع بتاعي في شوارع بتاع كودا. ده كلام ده ما بودينا قدام. وتوماس يفضل في أمريكا في يوروب as a political wing. لكن the military wing has agreed. The high military command has agreed. هم ناسا في جوبا. Let us thank them and let us welcome them to the Republic of South Sudan with all our hearts. As he mentioned before, that they should be forgiven. Yes, President called for amnesty means forgiveness. So they are free to be here. Thank you very much. If you have some question 2 to 3, you can channel to them. Lomafi Sualat, then
one question to you.
yes,
As they said, you said they will be reintegrated.
yes.
And then, is this part of will be integrated in the part of the necessary unified forces? Will be integrated the national army, the national security, or which forces?
The country is undergoing the second page, which is preparing the national army. Sanikun Jesh Bitatal Jesh Dawli, Jesh Al Deribu, Jesh Watani. So they will be part and parcel of this process. There is no way that they will be isolated. They will be integrated in all the organized forces. These are sons and daughters of this country. They also participate in the liberation during our war, during the liberation of the Arabs. So they have come into their senses. The only way is to respond to the president's armies.
امبارح في بيان طلع الكيسات بتاع وان كانسر والريال كان الناس بيقولوا الديفكشن بتاعكم ده ما بيعني اي حاجه والنوت افكت او ما بيأثر في الرؤيه بتاعت الناس.
شكرا للسؤال. أنا هنا يا القياديين أنا متأكد كل جول بيعرف إذا كان في قبائل دي منو كان قاعدين يحاربنا، ونحن ما بيتكلم كلام كتير، إنما نحن متواجدين الآن. نحن الموجودين معروفين في الغابات بأسماء برتب. القياديين الموجودين في الغابات ما نحن يهودا التفقنا عشان ندعم السلام. أما إذا كان في واحد من يتكلم يا البروباغندا بتاعه هو ممكن يتكلم لأنه كلام اللي في قصة بتاع جول ما في جول ثاني بيعبس، ممكن بيتكلم كلام بيكون ما عنده أساس. كلام اللي عنده أساس ده كلام المفعول، ده كلام مفعول إذا بيكون فعل بعد يسوف. لكن جول ممكن قاعد في يوغندا، قاعد في نيروبي يتكلم في التواصل الاجتماعي. ده ما بيودينا قدام. نحن بنتكلم في أرض الواقع، نحن بنتكلم كقياديين الموجودين في الميدان. حتى عسكري الموجود الورا بيعرف ده إنه ده غايب قدام. لكن واحد ممكن يتكلم من أمريكا، يتكلم في يوروب، يتكلم وين، ده ما بيتأثر بمساهمة بتاعنا كقياديين في تنظيم سيرفيس الفرونت، قياديين الموجودين هسه في دعم السلام. ده ممكن إجابة بتاعي. واحد اللي داير يتكلم اللي يتكلم، اللي داير يتكلم. ده مسير بتاعه. أنا متأكد هو بيكون متعصب، وبكرة أنا داير أكل لكم جول اللي بيتكلم كده ده أنا هجيبه ويدخل في السلام. في نهاية ده أخونا نحن سلنا سلاح ضد حكومة. هسه نحن متواجدين في حكومة الآن، حكومة بنكورنا. نحن من شعب بتاع وين؟ نحن أولاد البلد ده. أنا متأكد ده كلام ما عنده أساس.
نعم.
ده كلام ما عنده أساس.
نعم. وبهذا ممكن نقول قطع قيادي الصف الأول في حركة توماس شيريلو قول كل خطيب. تم حسم كل الشائعات. آخر مركب كان بيلقلق في توماس شيريلو الآن هم حضور هنا. شكرا جزيلا بلا حدود لحماة الوطن الأوفياء في مؤسسة جهاز الأمن الوطني الذين يعملوا دوما نحو تنفيذ رؤية الدولة ورؤية فخامة رئيس الجمهورية. شكرا لهذا الإنجاز. ثاني باختصار شديد، كل معارضي السوشيال ميديا يمكن يكون شافوا بيان بالعمل انه الوفد الاول وصل. الان هم 6000 من مقاتلي الحركه المتمرد توماس شيريلو وصلوا جوبا، والان هم قاعدين في وسط اخوانهم ورفاقهم في جهاز الامن الوطني. شكرا جزيلا كثيرا الناطق الرسمي باسم جهاز الامن الوطني. شكرا بلا حدود عبرك للجنرال والسعاده نارجي، وشكرا كثيرا لكل ضباط الصف في جهاز الامن الداخلي، وشكرا موصول عبركم الى غايه هذه المركبه الدينامو المحرك والدينامو الحامل لجنوب السودان المدير العام لجهاز الامن الوطني. ورساله الرئيس لكل الناس المعارف في السوشيال ميديا كنت تكون شايفينها. ناس الجهاز بدوا بترجموا الاقوال لافعال. شكرا لكم، وان شاء الله حنجري حوار في الميدان مع الناس اللي وصلت في مجموعه كبيره. هم 6000 من ضباط الصف والجنود وصلوا في الاسبوع اللي فات. يبقى كل الحركات المتمرده الان هي عبر السوشيال ميديا، في الواقع ما في اي وجود. الاسبوع اللي فات بجهود مقدره من مؤسسه جهاز الامن العام تم استغلال رقم كبير من المنشقين كانوا من حركه رياك مشار، وفي جزء كبير وصل كانوا جزء من حركه توماس شيريلو. قياده الصف الاول هنا. ثاني، كل الحيوان هناك عباره عن شائعات ويكذوبه، والقياده العسكريه قطعت لكل خطيب. مرحبا بهم في وطننا جنوب السودان، وطن السلام، ونتمنى السلام والوئام. شكرا جزيلا. 2024 يا جماعه احنا ماشيين للانتخابات وما حيكون في صوت طلقه في البلد دي، ونتمنى السلام. شكرا جزيلا للناس اللي تابعتنا في اللايف فيديو، جبناه فيديو لايف عشان بكره ما يقولوا الشغل ده فوتوشوب. انت ما بيردوا ما فوتوشوب، الشغل ده جبناه لكم اونلاين من جو طوالي من المطار لهنا يعني، وهو ماشيين معاه وماشيين ناكل معاهم ماكل تعجيل شاي بعد شويه. شكرا شديد جدا، شكرا جنرال، شكرا لكم يعني. هياخذوا صوره جماعيه، ونحن بنتمنى بس انه الناس اللي معانا في كل انحاء جنوب السودان يا جماعه الناس تمشي للسلام. ما في اجمل من السلام، كفايه تعب، كفايه حروبات، كفايه دمار، بلدنا دايره اجتهاد يعني. فنحن صيغتنا كبيره في قياده جهاز الامن انه حيقودوا تنفيذ رؤيه الرئيس، حيقودوا رؤيه الاستقرار. نعم خليه يفتح. بنتمنى شديد انه تستمروا يا كومرة نارجي ولا الناطق الرسمي ديفيد بقياده مدير عام جهاز الامن، تستمروا في انكم باقي الناس تنادوهم. نعم ده السلام، ده المحبه، دي بلدنا ونحن بنحبها. كفايه تعب، كفايه صراعات، كفايه دمار. كانوا تمشوا في اي منطقه في مناطق شرق الاستواء غرب الاستواء يمكن تمشي برجلين كداري ولا كيف؟ وناس دول عملوا جنبا سلاح. يعني انا شخصيا حمشي براكتيكال بالكاميرا فيديو، وانا حمشي هناك وحصور لكم. شكرا. حنصور.
Thank you very much, guys. So, Mabruk, the commanders of NAS for make a bold decision to join the peace. Peace is the only option that our people can live in peace and harmony. So, I'm happy with these generals, with their soldiers, that they decided to abandon the rebellions and then join the peace. And this is what we did. And I hope some of the opposition still in the bush need to do the same thing what this general did, because 2024 is the year of peace, and we hopefully, as the country is moving to the election, and it's good that so the gun need to be silent. And have you heard from the general that saying now, some of you in South Sudan right now were scared to travel in some of the road, Lanya Road, from Juba to Lanya or from Juba to Ye. Those roads now you hear this general saying those roads are clear, so you can travel freely. You cannot afraid. Nobody can ambush you guys on the road. So what you say, this is what we want. We want country, people, the citizen can move freely from the east to west, from the west to north. So anywhere you can live freely with no any afraid with anything. Okay. And this is the good thing that we look into. We always call that the war cannot bring any stability in our country. Okay. We want only that the country that can have peace and everybody can live together, and that if there is a political differences between the government and opposition, this thing can be addressed. You can sit down and address, as you see that the issues going on in northern Sudan. Who knows that Sudan will have a peace? Have the war itself. And you see now they are talking about peace themselves, the way that South Sudan are talking about peace. So there's no way that the country can be developed, or our people can live in peace and harmony if the gun is still crying in part of the country. So it's good that this general make this bold decision to join the peace. That's what we want, and we're calling out to General Thomas Cirillo supporter in diaspora. Okay, so you guys now you hear from the generals. You have no any other general on the ground. They are the general that command forces on the ground. They join the government. So what are you guys waiting for? You guys need to join your commanders in peace in Juba, so that the people of South Sudan can live, guys. This year coming raining season, all the civilians can go back to their homes and do their farm agriculture without fear. That's what we want to see in Junub Sudan. And this is what we want to encourage some of the rebellions that is still out there in the bush. Please join the peace. Join the peace. That's what we want. So thank you so much for those of you in Clubhouse and Facebook and YouTube. This is what we want. And Lakeland Media always come here to to bring this good news for our people to hear. Because these generals, they are not doing this for themselves, you know. They are doing this for the people, the well-being of the people of South Sudan. Because they see that what they've been fighting for the last 8 years it's pointless. It's a pointless war. The only peace is the only key to the stability, to the political crisis. But if you say that you can solve or remove the government is stronger than opposition in the bush. You cannot remove the government that's supporting 64+ tribe in the country, and you say that you will be removing it by force. No, you will not do that. You can remove the government through election. The election is coming up, and if you want to participate in this general election, just put down your gun and go mobilize your supporters and go for the election. That's the only way. So I just want to say thank you to Michael Stover for covering this event. It's really good that bring those kind of news, you know, and it's really a good thing that we see this positive move that this general did, because they did that for their own people, for the country, for people that were suffering, so not for themselves. And it really is mine, and that. So from here I say thank you so much for watching Legislative Media. We will bring some of news soon. And for those of you who didn't hear this video, you can go to Microsoft page. You can watch that video, and also too we share it on our page, our Legislative Media page. You can have that video if you didn't listen. So this is the bold decision for these generals. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And some of you want in Clubhouse, you want to join me. I will open the room later on if I have a chance, but now this time I will close the room and the show. So thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys soon. So thank you.
السلام لأنه صاب بتاعنا موجودين في مخيمات اللاجئين والناجحين. أنا شفت متاعب كثير خاصة في دول الجوار زي اليوغندا، كونغو وكينيا.
Bibor, Bing William, Atoin Juba, Malatori, Ayambio, Bing William, Atoin Benti, Walla Quaju, Ayawao, Bing William, Atoin Malkal, Walla Pinyaram, Bing William.